Hello everyone. Let us read and understand the poem Father Returning Home, written by Dilip Chitre. It is an autobiographical poem. This poem is taken from Traveling in a Cage. It draws a portrait of a suburban commuter. It depicts and describes his dull, monotonous, exhausting, and equally pitiable daily routine. It describes a forced alienation at home, which is reflected through the stale food and the lack of sharing. His children refuse to share their joys and sorrows with the hardworking father, who as a result is forced to retire into solitude. This very painful loneliness is a symbol of man's isolation from the materialistic, man-made world. Let us read the poem Father Returning Home. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stained with mud and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. This poem is written in free verse. It reflects on the alienation of modern life, the rift in communication between parents and children. The poet describes and depicts the loneliness of an old man in the modern society by describing the picture of his own father, a suburban commuter, returning home from work. The whole life the father is working for his family, but he is neglected and uncared by the family members. This solitude in turn signifies the man's aloofness from the materialistic world. The poem begins with the speaker's depiction of his old father traveling home in a late evening train after a long day of work. Standing among the passengers, the yellow lighted compartment. After a long train ride, the journey became a burden and he doesn't enjoy the moving visual landscape. He rushes through the mud and the rain only to reach a joyless house with emotionally distant children, and he eventually falls asleep dreaming of his ancestors. The father stands weary and tired among silent commuters. His appearance is shabby and worn, soggy, wet clothes, muddy raincoat falling apart from the back. His eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. Line and lane are rhyming words. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. Home again I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. His eyes are dimmed of age and lack of engagement with the world around him and his family. When the father arrives home, the son observes and looks at him while drinking light tea and eating stale chapati while reading. This signifies the father's alienation from the family and the world. He doesn't seem to have any complaint against this. The next line. He goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the grey hair on his wrist. The father retreats to the toilet to contemplate his estrangement from the modern man-made world, or how men become isolated from the family and world. This indifference he suffers outside and at home too. His hands tremble at the sink as he washes. It shows his physical vulnerability and emotional fragility. The few water drops clung to his grey hair symbolizes that the old man is just holding on to life. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radio. His children kept him away from their jokes and secrets, maintaining emotional distance, coldness without a healthy bonding with their father. Instead of fighting back or complaining, the father goes to sleep listening to the radio static. Radio static meaning it is the hissing or crackling noise produced by a radio receiver when it is not tuned to a specific station. The hissing or crackling noise produced by a radio receiver when it is not tuned to a specific station. Dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. He dreams of his ancestors who tried their level best for a settled and community life from a wandered and nomadic life. But now the ancestors and grandchildren thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. The poem reveals the father's profound alienation and isolation both from modern society and from his own family. The poem describes the sterile, dehumanizing nature of modern urban transportation with no community, no connection, and only isolated individuals traveling together. The poem established the contrast theme of alienation. The father exists in the modern world but is estranged from it. It highlights the generation gap between the children and the parents. Thank you for listening.